Right now, people are searching for a dealership. This is you, and these are your competitors. And all of you are fighting to rank first and earn those valuable clicks. Sure, you might outrank them in your own backyard, right there on your lot, but that won't help you grow your market share. They're stealing business from you 5, 10, 15 miles away from your store, and there's only one way to stop it. Market smarter. Find out where you rank, where you don't, who you're dominating, and who's dominating you. Request your custom ranking heat map today, only available from Wikimotive.
Hey y'all, welcome back. It's Friday and we are doing a webinar. We're really excited about this one. We have Zach Billings joining us. He's the co-founder of Wikimotive. And today we're going to be talking about keeping the ship on course by aligning marketing and store processes. So up next is going to be Paul J. Daly and Kyle Mountsier. Enjoy.
Yeah, dog.
I love it when people call you Paul J. Daly. You know what I mean? There's something
about
the J.
I make my kids address me that way. I'm just kidding. It's always kind of
Paul
funny.
J. Daly.
Well, I finally made it to the point, since we're talking about SEO, I finally made it to the point where if you just search Paul Daly, I come up now. I'm like, and if you search Paul Daly, J Daly, I just dominate the first 3 pages.
Dominate, yeah. But
it's
you got the Paul Daly. That's strong.
I know.
Well done.
I know. It's only, I mean, it just happened. I just only have 900 pages of podcast script out there.
Yeah, just a couple 2 tree.
Topic. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, look. There's a couple things that we're going to cover today, and the main one being, and I think like everything that SEO is like, who are you communicating to? What are you communicating to them? And why are they brought into your brand communication, right? Like that's the essence of SEO. It can get muddled in like blog posts that get keywords, right? Those things help, but it's all about communication. It's all about like, how are you talking to? How are you making sure that what's going on in the store is getting well communicated, and that's what you're selling, who you're about, what you provide to consumers is in line with what's going online. And actually, you're Paul Daly, your Paul J. Daly is a perfect example of that.
So Zach today, I've known Zach for a number of years now. We've always seen each other at Brian Pash events, and there's always a crowd around the Wikimotive booth. People are always asking what they think. And I'm so excited because this is the first time we've had him on content and our audience gets to meet him. And I know they're going to love him. Let's just bring Zach in right now.
Let's do it.
It's going to be an amazing conversation. And he's got a studio set up with a microphone.
Guy.
These are people. Hey, Zach, what's going on?
What is up? Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh my gosh. It's
Absolutely.
Such a pleasure. Such a pleasure. I love the intro commercial if people saw it, because like, you can get that. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about that more, but you can get that for free.
Yeah.
Heat map. Okay, we're going to talk about that
for free, and it's helpful.
All right. So look, this topic, near and dear to our hearts. Why is it close to your heart? Obviously, you're an SEO, but why the store process side of it?
Well, there's a lot of mythos, right, in our industry that like you just hire the guy or hire the perfect marketing solution. It's just going to fix all your problems. And I feel like, right now we're filming this, it's Q4 2024. We're in election cycle, holidays coming up. It's the time when things crater every 4 years worse than others. And everyone's always looking for like, how do you find that silver bullet, that perfect marketing solution that's just going to like fix my problems
now, fix it now,
yeah,
like
fix it
yesterday.
Now.
Yeah.
Right. And the truth is there are lots of great marketing solutions out there. There's no one particular thing that works, universally, SEO, SEM, social, but you can do all the best marketing in the world. And if the store process isn't lined up, if you're not thinking about the whole picture, then, you're going to get more traffic, more leads, and then you're going to squander them in store process, or vice versa. You can have an amazing process and the wrong marketing and be wondering, well, where are my leads? Right. So making sure you put the two together is super important.
Without a doubt. So why do you think, like, what does it look like when they're not in alignment?
When they're not in alignment, you're going to see things like, let's say you've got a great SEO solution. You've had it for a couple of years. You've given it time to build up, and you're scratching your head saying, why aren't I selling more cars? a lot of dealers, I'm sure, that are watching have experienced some version of this, where we came out of the kind of COVID easy selling time, and everyone's talked about it to some degree or another. I'm sure you guys have. And everyone sort of forgot how to sell, or we've got different team members on our teams at the dealership who just didn't learn to sell in that environment. And that's a process issue, right?
Mhm.
So we're still suffering from this in a lot of stores, and for understandable reasons. It's not necessarily like the fault of leadership that we've got this condition, but we have to adapt again. And so you can have the greatest marketing and be wondering, why am I struggling so hard to pick up additional market share? And we're headed into a boom in this industry. 2025 is shaping up to be a great year from an economic standpoint, from an opportunity standpoint, but you have to be firing on all cylinders, not just with your marketing selections and your plan, but also, how am I going to land that business at my showroom level? Do I have a BDC that's communicating with people effectively? Am I thinking all the way down to what source did that lead come in on? So for instance, we've seen dealers who have one of these like offer pop-ups on the site that's, get $750 off your car. And they work well for a lot of dealers. Well, feedback that I've heard is those leads, you have to work so differently. You have to jump on top of them, because that's a FOMO buyer who you need to make sure that you address them like that. Like, hey, I want to get you in now, and I want to make sure that you can take advantage of this, versus somebody who comes in, if you can identify they came in organically, you already know they're really low funnel and you can treat them differently. Everyone's going to have a different buying persona. And
Mhm.
if our process isn't thinking about that, we can easily miss the boat.
Man.
Yeah. One of the things that I found interesting a lot of times as I was marketing in a dealership and dealership group is the things we're communicating to consumers have a massive variety in their kind of spectrum of what are we communicating? What are we telling them about all of these great processes that we have, right? Whether it be the 750 coupon or the commercial that we're putting out. And what I find is the variety goes everything from like, we sell red Camrys to we intentionally care for you in the process by providing apple pies at the very end of your shopping experience so that you feel amazing and leave cared for, loved, and like you left grandma's house, right? Like that's like the range of.
Sounds great.
I know. I'm like, man, why isn't someone doing that? Like grandma's house, Mazda.com.
It's a great time of year for that. Yeah.
Yeah, but like that's the range of things that any given dealership has to communicate, or potentially even should be communicating, but isn't. And sometimes it either falls falsely in one of the two buckets. Either it's everything is we have red Camrys, or everything is we have grandma's apple pie. When you're considering like how that gets communicated and what mediums and when. How are you looking at the dealers that are doing that best, and the balance of how they're communicating, especially when your marketing hat is landing in SEO a lot? What's the balance there?
Yeah, it's a great question. And SEO particularly is obviously where I think a lot, and that being our bread and butter. And it doesn't always apply that well in SEO, because that doesn't necessarily line up to what the person searched. And you have to think about this as a store operator when you're talking to your marketing vendors, who's deploying what message and why. Why is really important, right? So if you're doing apple pies with every purchase, well, there's no place in your SEO message. Can you bake that into copy on a page? Absolutely. You
No pun intended. Come on.
Thank
Bake
you.
that in.
But people who you want to get into your let's say Ford store to buy an F-150, they're searching F-150 for sale, or they're searching for Ford dealership. They're not searching for apple pies with my purchase. And you have to make sure that you've aligned the message to the intent of the person who you wanted to attract in the door. Then there's a whole handoff process to the showroom or to messaging on your website. So, right, like you bring somebody in because they typed in Ford dealer into a Google search. You get them into your landing page with SEO. Well, now you have an opportunity, whether it's with banners, whether it's with other copy on your website, to start telling that story, telling your hopefully your positive brand message that you're able to convey to people. And so you need to know where that handoff is and where the different pieces of your messaging are going to play well. If it's social media marketing, well, if you're trying to attract people on cars based on price, the copy often doesn't matter in that particular space, because you're advertising the car. Again,
Right.
once they land on the VDP, you want to introduce that message in some way, whether it's something as simple as banner overlays that have a value proposition point on your images, or whether it's, some other form of messaging that's sticky throughout the website, but you've got to convey that maybe a different way than how you brought the person in.
Makes a lot of sense. I think getting back to the in-store experience, right? You've just said like search intent starts one way, and then depending on what work you're doing, they find their way into your, digital ecosystem. And then eventually they find their way into like speaking with somebody, whether that's via chat or submitting a lead, or maybe walking in the store. And the real disconnect happens when you're promising one thing and something else happens in the store. But in the ideal sense, right, you're promising something and that happens in the store, or something better than that even happens in the store. And Kyle, you've spent so much time like at the sales desk and training teams and training BDCs. Like you've done this time and time again. You've also been on the marketing side. What are the things like in the store that you do to make sure that your team is matching up with what you're saying? Like where all the SEO work, all the marketing work actually gets carried the last leg?
Yeah, I actually think it's a lot of times what happens is it's reverse. The process that we should be taking is what we do is we create marketing messages and marketing copy and marketing content that shares a message prior to us going back and going, this is our process. This is everything we have to offer. This is everything that everyone already knows, like natively. And we're just going to expose that. Right. And I think that's the difference that you have to carry are your marketing efforts trying to share a story that isn't inherent to the company. Right.
Yeah. I mean, if there's ever a department that's willing to make some promises, it's the marketing department.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, it's so true. It's like, don't make promises that aren't native, that aren't inherent. Right. And if you do that, then you never have to worry about like training on what's being marketed, quote unquote. Right. Like making sure that everybody's up to date with the special offers. Everybody's up to date with the, with the new blog that we put out, or up to date with the vehicles that we have in stock. It's like, nope, we're just telling everyone what's already native and inherent to the company. There are some, there's some coupon things and things like that maybe you have to communicate, but it should be very few and far between. So I think that's where that comes up.
I think a little interjection on that, like so much of that comes down to making sure that your whole team at the dealership level has the same message, understands what is our dealership brand message, what is it that we're really all about, what is our ethos, and then also making sure that you communicate that to your vendor partners who are hopefully acting as partners and are trying to convey that message authentically on your behalf the best way that they can for their medium, their whatever their marketing medium is. So if you have all of that at the store level, so many times we're working with the dealership and it can be months in before somebody says, here's this amazing thing that we're doing for our customers. And I'm like, I didn't see that anywhere on your website. You never told me about that. Like we had no way to know that without walking into your store.
Right.
And we're just missing the boat. And all you have to do is make sure that, obviously not only does your team need to know that, but you need to make sure that you're conveying it to the people who you're paying to represent you to prospective customers who you're trying to attract in to do business with you.
So Zach, you're the SEO expert, and I'm probably like the lowest common denominator in this room right now. And so I always assume the back of the class, right? How can we teach to the back of the class in this webinar? So SEO is, like you said in the beginning of the show, like a lot of people see it as like, oh, I put a quarter in and it plays the song, kind of jukebox mentality when it comes to SEO, right? But SEO is actually a foundational part of an overall marketing plan. Can you explain to the back of the class why that is?
Yeah. So let's try and keep this. One of my clients calls it keeping the cookies on the bottom shelf. So
thank you. Yes, I like that person. Since we're going with baked goods. Yeah.
Yeah. I swear, I don't mean to be doing that.
I mean, it is fall time, and
I'm in on the baked goods.
I'm about to put on 10 pounds between now and December 31st. Promise.
I'm right there with you. So, SEO and why it's important to the foundation of your marketing. First of all, SEO, when it works, and you got to put a bit of a caveat on that, when it's actually driving people who are like low funnel, looking to buy or to service, looking to do business with your dealership, not just maybe read a blog article. SEO is going to be the lowest funnel traffic you bring in. Why? Pretty intuitive. Like that consumer searched a thing indicating they wanted to transact with a dealership. Like F-150 for sale, there's only one thing that you're realistically going to end up doing, which is
Right.
transact with a dealership. Ford dealership, we don't know if they want to buy new, buy used, or service, but they want to do one of those things. So when you think about what that searcher wants to do, they're super low funnel. The thing is, SEO in particular takes time to build up. It's the thing that's going to get the highest volume. The most people go to Google when they're trying to find anything, right? Even if they already know what store they want to find, they go to Google and search it. So the volume is tremendous. The intention is right there, low funnel, but it takes time to build up because Google doesn't allow you to pay to play on the SEO side, the organic side of things. You have to earn your way into those positions. And it's not rocket science. Like people in our industry, people in all verticals tend to make a bigger deal of this than it really is. What Google wants is very simple. At the end of the day, they just want to align results on their search engine to the intention of the searcher,
Right.
whatever that was, right? I want a recipe for, apple pie. I just need to align that with the
best
result,
recipe,
right?
right? What I think they want,
recipes that have,
right? Because their
the best
product,
reviews.
it's like the consumer's attention on the platform, going to Google, trusting that Google gives them what they want the first time. Like that's the best case scenario for them and for their user.
Exactly. They keep their market share high by just providing good results. So every
Right
single
away.
time Google
Right.
changes something, it's all just aimed at provide the most accurate results long term to the consumer. So
I thought it
that's
was to
really
drive
simple.
marketers crazy.
That too. They love that.
It's a derivative effect.
Yeah, exactly.
They definitely like everyone losing their mind on Reddit. But yeah, it's not rocket science what you're trying to aim for. It's just a bit nuanced how you get it done. And at the end of the day, it's write good content and it's that simple. Now it takes time to build up. So SEO can't be all of your marketing because it takes 3 months before it does a thing. It takes 12 before it's really starting to snowball, and it continues to build month after month after month after month. So sometimes you also need tomorrow results, and that's where digital advertising methods like SEM and social come into play. It's a whole mix that you need to have in your marketing. It's not just one thing, but SEO gets you the lowest funnel shoppers and they get the highest potential volume of them. And the best thing, in my opinion, about SEO is that the dealership that leans in and gets serious results done with SEO is going to get a durable market share advantage because it's difficult to do. And so when your competitors didn't do it and you get the lead, it's so hard to dethrone that position if you're one of your
claiming the high ground, right? Like it takes 4 times as many people to take the high ground.
Absolutely.
Right? I love it.
Absolutely.
It's resilient and it's a very slow, even if you stopped, right? If you stop investing in SEO after you've done it, it's going to be a slow depreciation curve because it took a long time to build.
Exactly. I say it has inertia, on the way up, it took a lot of steam to get it moving upward. But even if you stop, and I don't recommend you stop if you're building up steam, but even if you stop,
absolutely.
it takes some time before it even plateaus because you've built up that inertia.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I think when people go, well, why am I doing it? Why do I keep doing it? What's the real impact is, as marketers and as the marketing industry, we've always tried to figure out, like, how do we prove what we're doing actually is working with Google and with Bing and with search engines, and even with market share. Like, what are the proof points and what are the smoke proof points, right? Because I think there's some smoke proof points. Maybe we can call those out. Like if your SEO provider keeps like pointing to these things, it might be smoke. And then what are the real things? What are the things that we can actually look at and concretely go, that's going to have an impact on the bottom line over time?
Yep. So the first thing that we have to get out of the way is saying that you can never point to the blue F-150 you sold last Tuesday and say that was SEO that sold that. But that's true of paid search. It's true of anything that drives traffic to your website. There's a disconnect between that visitor to your website submitting the lead and knowing what original traffic source that was, because that information is not passed to your CRM. Your CRM doesn't say what the traffic source of your website leads were. So we have to just put that right out there. You're not going to know that with certainty. So what's the next best thing you can do? You can know how many leads, how many conversions did my traffic source drive, right? And this is not exclusive to SEO. This is traffic driving marketing. So if you've got SEO driving traffic to your website, most of the confusion in our industry around measuring SEO comes from the fact that the majority of vendors who are reporting on this are just reporting on traffic. They're saying you got more traffic. And then the dealer goes, yeah, I got more traffic, but I didn't sell any more cars. So you tell me what the mismatch is, because there clearly is one, right?
That's right.
And it's because the traffic often comes from like high funnel things. You write a blog article about Ford Lightning
feature,
range
right,
or something like that. And that's a research term.
how to
People are
steal a
coming from-
Kia, right?
Yes.
Yeah, just kidding.
I mean, I was no, seriously. And I was just yesterday. It was how to start my Mazda without the key fob, and with a dead key fob, and like that blog article is driving traffic, but from all over the country. So no wonder it's not driving leads. So what you have to look at is not only did I get more traffic, but much more importantly, did I get conversions? And we get quickly into nerdy territory here, but it's understanding your Google Analytics to at least a rudimentary degree and having some kind of a vendor partner who is taking proactive steps to make sure that you have good signals in there. You need to know when someone submitted a form after coming in on organic traffic or a different source. You need to know when somebody has not only initiated a chat, but actually submitted their information in a chat, right? And there's a huge difference. One of the things that we see all the time is, okay, maybe the vendor does say we need to look at your conversions, not just your traffic, but you go like, well, that says I got 10,000 conversions and I only have 200 leads in my CRM. So again, we have a mismatch here, and it's because we're counting things that shouldn't be counted. Like every single chat is being counted as a conversion. It's like, well, one was my name is, the next one was, do you have a, and it's chat number 17 in that string before it's, and my email address is this, right? Or my phone number is this. And we should only be counting the one where we got the person's information as a conversion.
Yeah.
So I can wax on that all day, but
yeah, Zach, I mean, I just like for the audience, you're clearly talking about, and Google has moved this from calling it conversions to calling it key events. But how you set that in particular thing up so that it's not page views, chat starts, all that type of stuff, can tell you the signals at the end. Like, did I get real people coming in contact with my business with real contact information that I can talk to them from the traffic that was driven by marketing sources, and organic and direct being primarily organic being lifted sources that converted directly from SEO is a big thing. So what other tools, and I know that you guys have brought out a couple tools of ways to look at, like, how are you figuring out whether or not you're growing or gaining in market share locally?
Yeah, so let's first just sort of dispel a myth. There is no tool currently available that gives you a piece of software that just spits out an audit that tells you if you have an SEO problem or not. There's a lot of those floating around in the industry, and it's frankly a lot of busy work for dealers, and it's a lot of busy work for their vendors, good or bad. Because a dealer gets one of these really alarming audits that says my page is slow, or my title tags are garbage, and then they go and they spend a ton of their time trying to figure that out when it's inconsequential stuff. So there's no magic tool, but what we started doing is building on something that's been critically important to true success of SEO for dealers for a long time, which is ranking over distance, not just in your backyard on your lot, which is not how things are usually reported. We started building these heat maps. So yeah, here's one. So if we look at the before SEO, you're looking at a metro market. And so imagine you're the dealership and the white area is your area. And let's just say you're a Ford store and the dealership, the keyword here was Ford dealership, the person typed in. So this would be like you rank in the white area, and then competitor A is the red, and competitor B is the blue, and those competitors are ranking top position in those big blobs, and you've only got this little white blob, right? What that tells you is you're missing out on market share in all of those colored areas, because if you were higher up the page, you'd be getting more clicks, more of those really good low funnel clicks. So this is not a perfect reporting tool. It's important for dealers to understand that. Like, rankings alone don't tell you the whole picture. You need to also blend in your analytics and look at that conversion data. But if you want to understand where am I seriously missing opportunity right now, whether it's, better than it was a year ago or whether it's been stagnant for a long time, you look at one of these heat maps, because what it shows you is, where are my competitors eating my lunch right now, which tells you where do I need to enhance my focus on my SEO, focused on local topics to be able to advance my positions into those new market areas. And the objective is you get to what, the after image, right? Where everyone else has stayed stagnant because most dealers are not investing in serious performant SEO solutions. And so if you can capture that high ground, right, by
Is this an actual
bleeding that area
example?
out. This is a representative example similar to a dealer that we have in that market. It's actually simplified for the purpose of this conversation. I won't belabor the point here, but
that's fine.
Here's what an actual one looks like. There's a whole lot more blobs because you
Okay.
got a whole lot more dealers.
Yeah.
Sorry, hold on. Yeah,
fill that up again.
there we go. So
there it is.
You're always going to have a lot more than just that simple, 5 blobs on a map. But the other thing that's really interesting about this is that it's not always the dealer you'd think that's eating your lunch organically. Sometimes it's a player that's not the biggest player in the market, but one that's actually been investing. And that tells you a lot, or it should tell your SEO vendor a lot in terms of, okay, now this is real data to say, this is the dealership that we need to specifically go up against. These are the tactics they're using that we need to compete with. And if your SEO vendor's paying attention to the competitive landscape, that's going to tell you a lot.
Got it. We have a couple questions coming in. We're going to get to questions in just a few minutes at the end of this. But we were talking about, basically how working on this now translates to like percentage market share growth. Can you break that down for a second?
So yeah, we did a study that I think it paints potential numbers for 2025 specifically. So this is, I think, specific to right now. Here it is. So this is real quick. I'll try and explain what this data is. It's Federal Reserve data. So this is like legit stuff. And what you're seeing plotted here is total, not just SAR, which is only new vehicles sold, but this is vehicle revenue. So it's dollar figures, new and used combined. And then it's also adjusted for automotive retail specific inflation. Wow. So what you're looking at here is an inflation adjusted graph showing the dollar value of vehicles sold in America from 1992 to present. So you can see it was climbing steady, and then we had 08 and it crashed, and then it was climbing steady, and then we got a big bobble for COVID, but not actually as big a crater as people feel like it was. And if we look back, we know that we had profitable times, and that lines up with this. And now what's hard to notice if you only look at like a few months year over year, or you only look at like just the last year on a graph, is we're already on a trend line again. We're already on a really clear trend line again. And it's lining up with all of the economic data and all of the projections that are coming out about a strong 2025, a rebound, rates coming down. So the data says the market's going to go up 10% in 2025 versus 24. Okay. So 10% increase in the market means everyone should sell 10% more cars, right? But the truth is you've got the 80-20 rule in play here. So 20% of dealers that are aggressive and making a plan and thinking about store process are actually going to reap 80% of the reward. That's just the statistical way that this kind of situation plays out. Yeah. And so the way that math actually works is if it's a 10% rise in the market, your top 20% of performers are going to see 40% increase in their sales volume next year.
Wow.
And everybody else,
the strong data right there.
Not moving.
That is solid. That is solid. All right. Our time's winding down. I do want to make sure I get to a couple of questions. There's one somebody just is semrush.com. Is that a solid tool? Quick take.
Yes, if you know how to use it, and many others are too, and you need to know how to use those. It's all about what
just like a lightsaber. I got it.
Just like a lightsaber.
Here's another question. I had to call back the Star Wars videos. Another question: how does SEO come into play now that so many people are using AI tools for search?
Not at all. So a transactional search for car dealership related subject matter does not produce an AI overview snippet. So it actually doesn't matter at all. For research terms, AI can totally, produce answers that are valuable to the person who performed the search. But when the search is F-150 for sale or Ford dealership, try it on your phone where it does the AI snippet on Google. It will not produce one. So it does not matter.
Maybe one day.
Wow. Interesting.
So there you go. Is there anything else? Did I miss anything?
How about on the reverse side, like with so many people using AI tools to create content? Have we seen, a detraction in SEO or, different search engine results changing, with people potentially writing more content or attempting to write more content with AI? Like that's probably like a whole half an hour conversation, but give us the hot take on that.
Yeah, definitely. It's an hour-long conversation, and I do a workshop on it. But the fast version is you can use AI to help your process of producing a great piece of content, but it's only an aid. It can give you ideas. It can maybe feed you some bullets that you can expand upon, but you need to do the human heavy lifting to actually provide unique information that is specific to your consumer that you're trying to reach, and to your store, and to your brand image, and your brand message. If you try and take a raw piece of AI output, no matter how good your prompt was, it will not be unique enough. And Google's algorithm update in May of 24 focused on scaled content abuse and using AI to increase the scale of they can tell. And
Google may be using AI to find the right content, but they're going to find the human content on the other side. Pretty wild.
Absolutely right.
That's beautiful. Well, before we go, you mentioned that you can get a free heat map report. Mentioned that in the commercial. It might be rolling again at the end of the show, but I want to make sure we don't miss the opportunity. How do people get that? What is it and how do they get it?
Yep. Go to wikimotive.com and either do a live chat or just, put in a request on the site. You can also just email me directly, Zach with an H at wikimotive.com. Very simple. Just ask for your heat map, and I just need to know what's your store. We take a little bit of time to build one out and actually also understand why your current heat map looks that way. And then we can take 15 minutes on a Zoom. I walk you through it, walk you through why, and no one has to take a pitch or a demo or anything if they don't want one. It's a free resource, but we do want to go over it because there's context and everyone needs to understand that.
Well, Zach, thank you so much, you and the team at Wikimotive, for being so thoughtful about your approach to technical things and being willing to teach to the back of the class and being so open-handed with all of that information. Also want to thank everyone who joined and who asked questions. Reach out to Zach. Get the free heat map. It sounds like it's an actual thing and not like just put a quarter and spit out a song. Thank you so much. We're gonna have a wild ride ahead of us in the next 18 months. I have a hunch, but for now, we are going to flip back to show a little thing about Wikimotive and back to Anne-Marie.
Right now, people are searching for a dealership. This is you, and these are your competitors. And all of you are fighting to rank first and earn those valuable clicks. Sure, you might outrank them in your own backyard, right there on your lot, but that won't help you grow your market share. They're stealing business from you 5, 10, 15 miles away from your store, and there's only one way to stop it. Market smarter. Find out where you rank, where you don't, who you're dominating, and who's dominating you. Request your custom ranking heat map today, only available from Wikimotive.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. If you know someone who couldn't make it, feel free to send them a link to the LinkedIn event or the registration page, or you can check it out on our website. That was full of tons of great information. And I think I'm going to make an apple pie this weekend. So have a great day, everyone. Thanks for being here. Bye.